Entertainment Weekly's Patrick Gomez, and we are here in our San Diego Comic-Con video suite with the cast and director of Speak No Evil.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi there, Mackenzie Davis. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you very much.
It's good to know you, Mackenzie Davis.
I'm going to start going down the line here. So this is the film is not out yet, but I have gotten to see it. It is intense. Very intense.
Yeah.
I mean this as a compliment. It's like hard to watch at times.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear from you all what made this something that was super exciting to be a part of, because I can't even imagine reading the script being like, this is some messed up stuff.
I think that thing is that it's so uncomfortable for so much of the movie, where it's not even in a horror way. You're just sort of squirming out of your seat and being like, just do something better. Like it's so much about sort of social contracts and social awkwardness, but it plays as like just the cringiest thing, and then that gets translated into horror by the end, and it's like the last act of the movie is just this wild ride, but the whole thing is this sort of like thing about to burst, and reading that was so fun, and figuring out how to play with that tension was so exciting.
A large source of that tension is James McAvoy as Patty. So what for you made this appealing?
Many things. Getting to play a character who walks the line between sort of entertaining and charismatic and horrifying and toxic was always going to be fun. But I think the main dynamic that drew me into it was like the good guy couple who have a pretty not nice relationship, and not one that you would ever want to have, and then you've got the bad guy couple who just have got a relationship that everybody would want to have, and like they are clearly like as messed up and as dark as it is, they are so in love, and the passion is real, and the carnal desire for each other is real, but the love is real as well. I always maintain that. You might watch the film and take a different view, but to play that strange juxtaposition where the good guys have something you don't want and the bad guys is kind of what you want to be sometimes.
You described a little bit of the dynamic here, but we've got director James Watkins here. What would you say, if people haven't seen the trailer yet, how would you describe the story of this movie in a way that doesn't give anything away? Because I don't want to do it and spoil anything.
No worries. It's about two couples, an American couple and an English couple, and they meet on holiday, on vacation. And they have a sort of vacation friendship. And one couple invites the other couple to come back to their farmhouse in the West Country in England to visit. And then things proceed in a way in which, you know, gets more and more.
It's like bottomless. It just goes like it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. But it's also really, it's quite entertaining, quite funny for something that is a horror and something that does survive on tension, being strung out so taut. It is somehow comedic as well, quite a lot. But it's it's going bottomless, definitely.
It's based on a 2022 Danish film. How familiar were you with that film prior to stepping into this project, and did you dive into it or avoid it entirely?
I avoided it entirely. I think just because I don't know how that would help
like
me in
Danish
any way.
films?
Yeah, I just as a rule don't watch Danish films. I don't know how that would be helpful, because it's somebody else's interpretation of a situation that's actually completely different, because so much of the film, theirs and ours, is about like the sort of cultural like bindings that we have, and how like Americans would react in England to an English couple is completely different than how Danish people would react to a Dutch couple, and there's so much room to play with the sort of cultural differences there.
Cultural differences as well, but it's also about the kind of the city dweller and the rural as well, and the sort of the sophisticated, the civilized, the polite society, and then the kind of, I guess, something more rustic or that's the end of that sentence.
It was a good end. It was a good end.
Thanks,
of the
guys.
sentence.
Thanks. It's been great talking to y'all.
How about for you?
Well, look, obviously I love the Danish original, and it's brilliant, but as Mackenzie says, this film has different characters from different countries, and they act in a different way. And you can still, you know, Christian's film, you know, he's an EP on the film, you can go and see his film, and they're almost in conversation with each other, the two films. So I sort of think, you know, that it's great that they both exist, and I wanted to lean into a sort of, I thought there was an opportunity to make a film, the sort of film I want to see, which is a sort of hopefully a really intelligent but roller coaster ride that sort of a reason to go to the cinema, you know? You go here and you see audiences, the animal of an audience watching this movie, and they're whooping and they're cheering and they're clapping and they're screaming and they're laughing. And I think we've all got a kind of an obligation now to give people a reason to go to the cinema. And I think the sort of purity of the emotional experience of this movie is a real reason to go.
I love your performances in the film, but there's 4 other main cast members that aren't here with us. Tell us a little bit about filming this, because it's a grand film in the sense that like it feels like a motion picture, but at its core it's a 6-hander and it's a very quiet, small film at the same time. What was that vibe like shooting with such a small core cast?
It was amazing. I mean, it was so much about these 2 couples and their children, and we have 2 amazing child actors. One of them, Dan Huff, who's his first ever performance. He was just the loveliest, sort of most uniquely talented little boy who plays Ant.
Incredibly
their kid.
talented.
Unbelievable. And our daughter is so wonderful, and she's like just preternaturally sort of alive and smart. Alex, she's incredible. And then Scoot, yeah, I mean, you can speak about the adults, but just like a really, really lucky group of people that James cast who all like working, even the children, on these like really sort of gritty, sort of stinky little problems.
Gritty, stinky little problems. Sounds like there's no TP left. There was 0 response to that. There was, we had a really good company, really good vibe on set for something that could have been a little bit uncomfortable, and we did have to be fairly intimate with each other. And no, I don't mean like sexually or anything like that, but like we're just very close quarters in this tiny set with really low ceilings all the time. And being able to be as vulnerable, open, free with each other as we were made it really a great experience. And it wasn't, and it was a classic thing, you know, was it heavy on set? Was it deep and dark and scary on set? And you're like, it kind of wasn't. We had a really fun time making this pretty messed up movie.
And it was a real play, and that's that thing of having, when you have wonderful actors who you know are going to have a real, just be able to play a game together. And you can explore, and once, and you can just lean into all the corners, all the microaggressions, all the little moments. You know, James smiling, Paddy, is he being friendly? Is he being malevolent? What's he doing? And Mackenzie reacting to that, her seeing things that the husband doesn't see, all of that. It's that real minutiae. And I think as a director and as actors, that's really fun to sort of really dig into all the little moments of the sort of horrors of everyday life.
There is I would say a physical transformation in your character towards the final act, just in terms of even the way he's walking and how did you navigate? It's not prosthetics, it's not all that, but like how did you navigate kind of switching that part of him on?
I just happened to be luckily.
Sorry,
I just happened to be luckily a bit bigger and musclier at that time because I'd just been doing that for a couple of years before this movie came along. So I knew it was going to help, but I tried to keep him as soft as possible for the beginning of the film when we're on holiday. He's trying to take the edge off the fact that this is clearly a bad guy coming in here. And then by the end of the movie, he was doing all that classic shit that actors do, or like kind of eating slightly less carbs, pumping up before each take, and all that kind of stuff. When he's meant to be malevolent and more bestial and animalistic, that came out of my brain and my mind. And I mean, that was kind of calibrated, and I did that on purpose. But I would I was lucky to just be in the kind of shape I would want to be to play that part anyway, which I'm not anymore.
But we also stripped him down, like between James and me and Keith Madden, the costume designer. It's the layers are literally coming off with him. And you start, and as James says, he starts off in softer costumes and whatever, and then he's stripping back, and then you're revealing more the animal within as the movie goes. So it's sort of charted.
Yeah. No, totally. And that, I'm glad you said about my physicality as well, because you were like trying to walk different and all that. Make him more of an animal by the end.
Yes, I said it was a 6-hander, but at times it's an 8-hander because you've got the guns going on in some of those scenes that they like take on a life of their own. I'm sure you're.
Thank you very much.
Well, McAvoy.
I like that.
But I'm sure you also enjoy not having to watch what you're eating and not hitting the push-ups as much.
Honestly, what it was just not watch what I was eating. It was just eating way more than I usually would. And it was I just decided to do that for a couple of years for fun. But like I say, when I got this part, I was like, this is perfect. This works out great.
Well, to wrap up, we are doing a little bit of an EW flashback for those that have covers from EW. Yes. And so we would love to share with you your first EW cover. It was 2008 Oscar preview issue. It is for Atonement.
Oh my God.
What are your
You're
thoughts
literally
seeing
sharing
this?
it with me. Am I getting to keep this?
We have to see if we have extra copies in the office. But
Guys,
so,
thank
yes.
you so much for this. This is really, I'm taking it away.
Will the Oscars happen?
Wow.
Smoldering.
Will the Oscars happen? They did happen. And I did get to go to the Oscars. I didn't get nominated for anything. I did get nominated that year for a Golden Globe, but they did get cancelled. And I was like, fuck! Am I allowed to swear? I'm so sorry. I'm allowed to swear? Shitting great. But I remember doing this photo shoot with Kira, and it was weird because they wanted us sort of in character, but, we don't, as actors, why would we be doing this together? Like, why would I be tracing my finger down your back? But he was like, no, it's more like in character. But I always remember feeling like, this is a bit weird. We're so young.
So
Look at us, we're so
hot.
young.
You guys look gorgeous. I
Aw.
saw that movie probably at like 13. It was like, it was so sexy.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for pointing out that you're so much younger than me.
I'm only 37.
I'm only 58. I'm not 58. I promise. I promise. I promise.
I'm 25.
That's really nice. I loved Kira. I loved working with her in this film. And I loved playing that character. I had so much love for the actual characters that it would get me upset sometimes thinking about what happened to these two fictional people from the book. Oh, loved it. Loved it. Thank you for this.
That
I'll give it
can
back
have
until you
it.
tell me I can have it.
That dynamic I often think about. My husband and I often say that Saoirse's character, we just are like, that girl. Like, we will
That
literally
girl.
just say that to each other, not having seen the movie in years.
That briny talus.
Well, thank you for sharing your
Thank you
memories.
very
Thank
much.
you for sharing a
Thank
little bit of
you.
preview of Speak No Evil. Definitely check it out in theaters in September. I'm Patrick Gomez, and for all your Comic-Con needs, continue to go to EW.com and this YouTube channel right here throughout the rest of the convention.